Things are going at the border, sir.
Much better than you all expected.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I think. Pardon me?
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
Not in the near term, no. No, just be disruptive, not anything else.
We have been very clear. We are going to put forth an immigration process that is humane, that is orderly. That is the goal that we have set forward. That is how we want to move forward in that process and do it very differently than it was done in the last administration.
If the border is secure, as the administration has said, then why would we need to send 1,500 active duty U.S. troops down there?
Because we need more work. We need more work needs to be done, Peter. We put forth a comprehensive immigration legislation, and Congress, Republicans in Congress refuse to act. And so the president has used the tools that he has in front of him to prepare ahead of Title 42 lifting. As you know, that is happening in the next couple of days. And so we are putting DHS, Department of State, is putting forth processes to deal with the changes that are going to be ahead of us. And so that is what's important here, and that's what you've been seeing for the past several months. You've heard from DHS, you've heard from the State Department on what we're putting in place to deal with the border once Title 42 lifts.
You said yesterday that when it comes to illegal migration, you've seen it come down by more than 90%. Where did that number come from? Because CBP is telling us the number is.
I hear you. I'm about to answer.
136,000 people more.
I'm about to answer
this
you.
fiscal year so far.
If the dramatics could come down just a little bit. If the dramatics could come down a little bit.
What's dramatic about asking a question about?
Okay, I'm going to answer. So I was speaking to the parolee program. As you know, the president put in place a parolee program to deal with certain countries on ways that we can limit illegal migration, and we have seen the data has shown us that it has gone down by more than 90%. That was what I was speaking to. No, we're going to go. We're going to move. Go ahead. We're moving, Peter. Let's go.
Governor Greg Abbott has said that he will continue sending migrants to Democrat-run cities after Title 42 expires. The mayors of Chicago and New York have already responded saying they simply do not have space. What is the administration doing to help state and local governments prepare ahead of the expected influx of migrants?
So look, it's unfortunate that Governor Abbott continues to play politics with migrants and with the American people. Because what he's doing, that's what it looks like. It looks like a political stunt instead of trying to address the situation or maybe get the congressional members and senators that are in his state to actually ask them to work with us on truly dealing with a problem, with trying to figure out how do we deal with immigration reform. Instead of doing that, he wants to play politics. So that's what we've seen from this governor. It's not surprising. That's what he's continued to do. Our administration has been in touch with mayors and local government to see how we can be helpful to them. That has continued over the last several months because Republicans continue to play politics here to put political stunts ahead of actually making change. And if you think about what we've put together, if you think about wanting us to protect put protections for dreamers and farm workers, more immigration judges and asylum officers, more funding for border security, and all of this, which is part of the president's legislation and what we've been urging Congress to act on, what we saw just earlier this week is over 430 business groups wrote to members of Congress calling on them to get this done. 430 businesses have called on Congress to get this done. So this is getting support out there. American people want to see this. Businesses want us to act as well, want Congress to act. And so we're going to continue to do that and to call on Congress, but Republicans are in the way. And Republicans in Congress are getting in the way. And what Abbott is doing does not help the situation.
I hear what you're saying about immigration reform. I'm not hearing specifics about how you're providing resources to state and local governments to handle the expected influx.
And I have said that we have been in touch with state and local governments to help them in any way that we can. We have done that this past several months, whether it is Chicago, whether it's New York City. We have had extensive conversations, even with the D.C. mayor, on how we can help moving forward. And again, we're in constant communication, whether it's the White House, whether it's the DHS, whether it's FEMA even, and how we can help cities. Every city has their own specific need that they need to address to this issue. And so, yeah, we've been in constant communication. That has happened. And I've talked about it multiple times, whichever mayor is asking for assistance from the federal government.
Thank you, Governor. If the president's priority is to treat the immigrants humanely, like you said, wouldn't he be sending social workers, psychologists, judges, lawyers to the border instead of sending active military personnel?
So look, I want to be clear, the active military, as I just explained to one of your colleagues here, it's been done for more than almost 2 decades now. It is a personnel that's performing administrative tasks and like data entry and warehouse support. That's what they're going to do, so it can help free up the CBP, the Border Patrol agents, to perform some critical law enforcement duties. And so that is their function. That's what the active duty is going to do. They're not going to interact with migrants. Look, yes, we would love to be able to have more resources at the border to do the critical work that is needed. But the reason why we're moving in this direction, and of course my DOD colleagues will speak more on this, is because Congress has not acted.
Also on Title 42, there's a bill emerging on Capitol Hill this week that Republicans are pushing in the House. I understand that broadly you disagree with that bill, but can you talk about if you see any points of agreement with the GOP on places of tension or problems related to the border that you agree on that you could move forward with? Maybe there's parts of that bill you do agree with, or other solutions that you know have broad support.
So I laid out yesterday why we don't agree with that bill. Certainly that, no, that nothing changes there. That still stands. What we have seen is Congress Republicans wanting to cut resources, cutting 2,000 in law enforcement to be at the border. They have not done anything to be helpful in this process. They've taken political stunts. What they put forward is not going to help the issue at all. And we've taken this very seriously. On day one, the president put forth a comprehensive immigration reform legislation to really have this conversation about how do we put more resources to deal with this challenge. And instead, they want to take away resources. That's what they've told us. And so if they want to seriously have a real conversation, we're willing to have that conversation, but they haven't proven that. They haven't proven that they want a real conversation. They want to actually make the situation, the challenges that we see at the border, worse. That's what their legislation shows. That's what it tells the American people.
You don't see a specific area of agreement then?
I mean, I've been very clear. I literally went almost line by line about the things that we disagree about with that legislation yesterday. It's going to make the situation worse. It's not going to help. And look, they want to play political games, and that's not what the president wants to do. He wants to do the opposite.
Secretary Mayorkas said this morning that the numbers at the border have gone down since Title 42 was lifted. Are you confident that the numbers have peaked, that they'll continue to go down?
Look, they have gone down. My hope is they'll continue to go down, but we have a lot more work to do. And we need some more help from the Congress as well in terms of funding and legislative changes.